Democrats win on healthcare, environment, women's rights, respect for, but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No, you didn't. When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid.
Kamala Harris just released her latest book, supposedly explaining how and why she lost the election. Spoiler alert, it's never her fault. The pages are packed with half-truths, victim narratives, and the usual woke buzzwords we've come to expect. Enter BillMaher, the anti-woke gladiator, armed with his signature sarcasm. He shredded Kamala's excuses, exposing her as what she really is, a confused, out-of-touch, and hopelessly performative politician pretending to be profound. Buckle up. This one's going to sting.
Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. 107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump.
BillMaher kicked things off by tearing into Kamala Harris's book title, 107 Days. According to Maher, the title itself perfectly illustrates Kamala's spin, painting herself as the victim who just didn't have enough time. But Maher wasn't buying it. He pointed out that Kamala had one of the largest campaign budgets in political history, the backing of a media that practically worshipped her, and roughly 75 million voters who would have supported anything with the D next to ITSO. Complaining about only 107 days isn't just misleading, it's laughable. Maher summed it up perfectly. Kamala had every advantage and still managed to flop.
107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking will call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Poor Kamala. We made her the star of a rom-com and didn't even give her a gay best friend.
Kamala Harris didn't just write a book. She wrote a political soap opera. In it, she boldly throws her former boss, Joe Biden, under the bus, blaming him for not stepping aside early enough to save her campaign. She even hints that he ignored warnings about his declining mental sharpness. Loyalty, apparently, is optional, but she doesn't stop there. She turns her frustration toward America itself, claiming the country wasn't ready for a female president. And just when you think it can't get any pettier, she blames her loss on not getting her dream running mate, Pete Buttigieg, classic Kamala. When in doubt, blame everyone but yourself.
Writes that on election night, when it was clear she'd lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President, for Christ's sake.
Now this part is pure comedy gold. Kamala actually blamed one of her own aides, yes, an aide, for removing the Madam President labels from cupcakes before they were handed out to voters. Apparently, that single act was part of her grand downfall. But here's the kicker. The aide only did it because, by that point, it was painfully obvious Kamala had already lost to Donald Trump. Imagine that, cupcakes becoming the scapegoat for a historic election defeat. Maher couldn't help but laugh at the sheer absurdity of it. While everyone else saw a campaign collapsing, Kamala saw frosting sabotage. You can't make this stuff up, but she somehow did.
Ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong.
And that's absolutely true. Women in the DNC have carefully crafted an image of being strong, fearless, and unshakable. The kind who never flinch, never cry, and certainly never admit weakness. It's all about projecting power, not vulnerability. They parade an Iron Lady persona, hoping to be seen as stoic leaders rather than emotional women. But let's be honest, it's a facade. Behind the polished smiles and scripted speeches is a desperate need to appear tough enough to compete in a man's world. They suppress their natural instincts, terrified that showing empathy or emotion will be interpreted as weakness. Ironically, that's exactly what makes them look artificial. They're so busy pretending to be invincible that they forget authenticity is what real strength actually looks like.
A good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman's show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha.
Now, if you're wondering why BillMaher took aim at the ladies on The View, here's the backstory. They went after him first, mocking and dismissing his comments after he questioned their sudden silence on the Jimmy Kimmel situation. But Maher being Maher wasn't about to let that slide. He called out their so-called bravery for what it really is, performative. When Kimmel was first suspended, insiders suggested The View could be next on the chopping block. And suddenly, the usually loud, outspoken panel went dead silent. Producers and hosts reportedly refused to say anything out of fear of being axed. But once news broke that Kimmel was returning, voila, their voices came back, louder and braver than ever. Maher exposed it perfectly. Their courage only shows up when it's safe to have an opinion.
On the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us." No one had to. You silenced yourself. Whoopi Goldberg continued, "Did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel?" No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. 5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point.
The likes of Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Donna Navarro are perfect examples of selective bravery. Fierce when it's convenient, silent when it's risky. They've built their careers on outrage, quick to cancel anyone who doesn't echo their talking points. But the moment the spotlight turns toward them, they become cautious, calculated, and terrified of the very mob they helped create. They know exactly how vicious cancel culture can be, and they'll do anything to avoid becoming its next victim. It's almost poetic, self-proclaimed warriors of justice trembling at the thought of losing their own platform.
Came out, and this is really, I'm speaking to the Democrats especially here, because Trump's numbers are down. They're down with Latinos, they're down with blacks, they're down 15 points with whites. And when whites say, "You're not hip anymore," ooh. And yet, in the other poll, on issues, Trump still winning. So this is your big opportunity, Democrats. He's down in the numbers, and you still can't score.
The DNC still can't seem to find its footing, and the reasons are piling up fast. There's no true leader to inspire confidence or set a clear direction. Instead, the party remains trapped in its own echo chamber, heavily influenced, if not outright controlled, by the fringe woke left. It's become a toxic environment where groupthink thrives and dissent is treated like heresy. Rather than confronting reality, they cling to delusion, convinced that slogans can substitute for strategy. And to make matters worse, Kamala Harris has chosen to throw her own party under the bus. Instead of taking responsibility for one of the most humiliating defeats in DNC history, she's pointing fingers and rewriting the story. It's chaos masquerading as leadership, and Democrats are paying the price.
When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid.
When it comes to raw popularity, it's true Trump might be losing a bit of ground. And honestly, that's not surprising. After such an unprecedented political comeback, Maintaining sky-high momentum is nearly impossible, but here's the twist. While his approval numbers may fluctuate, Trump is still dominating where it actually matters, the core issues keeping everyday Americans up at night on the economy. He resonates with working-class voters who remember lower inflation and stronger paychecks. On the border, he's viewed as the only one serious about restoring order. And on foreign policy, his unapologetic America First approach continues to command respect. Yes, so sure, Trump may not be everyone's favorite personality, but on performance and real-world issues, he's still miles ahead of the rest.
Democrats win on healthcare, environment, women's rights, respect for, but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No, you didn't.
Honestly, that's the Democratic Party's entire playbook at this point. Fight Donald Trump. That's all they've got. They've turned opposition into a full-time career, squeezing every last drop of political capital from the anti-Trump narrative. It worked when Biden won, but they recycled the same tired strategy when Trump went up against Kamala Harris. And this time, voters weren't buying it. People are exhausted by nonstop Trump bashing and are looking for something real: policies, plans, vision. But when they turned to the DNC, there was nothing there. No clear economic agenda, no border strategy, no leadership, just more outrage and empty slogans. The Democrats built their identity around hating Trump, and now that the outrage has worn off, the party looks hollow, leaderless, and completely out of touch with what voters actually care about. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.